Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode. I'll tell you what, it's been a rough week. I've been sicker than a dog this week. My wife got this cold and hers turned into pneumonia. She was kind and loving enough to pass the cold on to me, and thankfully I didn't get it as bad as she did, but still about 4 or 5 days of just feeling like a dog. So I can't stand sitting around in the chair anymore, and this is the first evening I've actually felt like getting out and doing something. So let's pick this up where we left off and plug away a little bit at this thing, and hopefully as I get moving around, I get feeling better, and we'll see what we can do here.
No, you're not bringing home another piece of junk.
All right, so this is where we left off last time, and it was it's looking a little rough and rugged. I can't say it's got a nice finished look, but I kind of got the picture of what I want to do here. We first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna make a panel to go. Well, I gotta get rid of this. This is the old automatic door lock, which we're not gonna have anymore. So I need to get rid of that. We're gonna make a panel. We're gonna use the back edge of this rod for like the lip, and we're gonna make a panel. We're gonna come out here and we're gonna square this up all the way down, and we're gonna get that about to there. I'm probably gonna make that in a few pieces, and my brain's just not working real great. But anyway, we're gonna do that, close that off, get that solidified up. And then I need to trim this a little bit more, and I need to get this tacked onto there to kind of get that solid. Once I've got that panel tacked in, and we get this tacked in, then I feel pretty good that the door's not going to move. I may go through on the other side and tack some more of this here. But once we get to that point, then I'm feel pretty good saying I can take the door off and kind of lay this down and finish all that up, and finishing the footwell, the welding in there, and get this done. So I want to weld it, get it all welded and ground off at the same time. It's something I figured out with just tacking this thing together and having to go and finish weld all that front end and grind it. I mean, that was a couple of weeks of work, and it's like, all right, from this point on, we just finish weld and grind everything we're doing. So I think the plan is get this door done and just work my way that way. Get this seam, this all ground off, make some pieces for there. We'll do this door, we'll do this whole side, and then we'll go to the other side, we'll do that door, and we'll do that whole side. And then we're gonna do the roof, and we gotta put a filler panel back in here. Once the body is done, then we're gonna look at where the engine's gonna go and all that good stuff. So I'm getting way ahead of myself here. All right, let me get some cardboard, and we're gonna bend up a piece for this and see what that's gonna look like. Okay, back in the screen. Okay, so I got a couple of pieces welded on the back of this thing, and it's pretty solid now. I can kind of push on that, moves a little bit, but I feel pretty comfortable now. I can take the door off, and we can look at how we're gonna box the bottom of this in and kind of make it a little bit neater. And confident that when I put the door back on, it's not going to be all wonky and moved a whole bunch. So, a second. We got this piece on. I put a little piece up in there, tacked along there, and like I said, it's long as I'm careful with it, it's not going to bend up and going anywhere. So we're boxed under here. It's looking okay, and I think what we're going to do is kind of box on over to here and square this up, and then I don't know if we're going to bring that straight up to the bottom of it, or if we're going to kind of sweep that out. I haven't figured that out yet. But anyway, next step is let's get the door off. Let's get it set up on a stand where I can do some welding on it. I do want to tape this window off. I don't want to burn this window with a bunch of welding. And we'll see what we can do with it. So let me pull the door, and we'll clean up in here too, getting a lot of grinding dust. Let's get the door off, get it set up, and we'll figure out what we're going to do here. Alright, so I'm getting ready. I'm going to pull this door off, and we're going to finish that structure. But one thing I wanted to check that did work out good was I got room for my foot in there. So if I got my foot there, and if I got a handhold up here, and if this thing isn't so far off the ground, shouldn't have any trouble getting up into it. So that worked out pretty good. Probably can't do it with my steel toes on, but I can do it with my tennis shoes on. So, all right, let's get this door pulled and we'll take a look. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I need to box this in. So I think I'm gonna cut this piece out that I put in and kind of move it back to here and just box straight across there. Kind of make that a little bit neater. And then we're going to box this all the way up to here, so we're going to make that flat and closed in. And then on the door here, well, this is a little short. I just ran a straight edge across here, so I'd know where straight, flat across here was. So I'm going to make a piece. We're going to go across to there, and then we'll cut that back a little bit. We'll weld that piece in to there. We'll weld a filler piece in here, and then I'm going to make another angle piece like this that'll go all the way over here, and we'll square this off, get rid of that corner, and then a little filler piece for down here. So I think once it's all welded up and ground out, I think it's going to look okay. It might look a little hokey at first, but should solidify everything up. This made a good door look like I was hoping it would. So all right, so let me start with this piece. I'll just make a piece for that. We'll get that piece put in there, and then we'll take a look at that. All right, so I got that piece made on there, and I was able to bend that little weird body line in there. So that one looks good. Now we're going to make it out of this. We're going to make a piece that's going to go all the way like that, and then we'll bend it over here like this. It's going to lay flat. We'll cover that rounded edge, and then we're going to have to cap it. So yep, that's going to work. And I'm going to cut the inside of this out too. I don't know if I want the top of that door blocked off from the bottom of that door. If any moisture gets in that door, I want it to find the low spot of the door and drain out. So this water sitting there. I guess I could just put some drain holes, but I don't know. I think I'll cut it and weld it the wrong way. But the question I'm asking myself, do I really want to grind all of the white paint off the inside of this van and make it bare metal like the outside? And well, I think I do. Well, I know I don't want to, but I think I need to. So, I mean, that's be a few hours work for sure. But I think it'd be better if it's bare metal inside and outside. So, okay, let me make this other piece and we'll see what we got. Okay, so got this next piece put in there, and got that tack welded in place. Need to make a few little filler pieces down here. And then over here, I need to make a cap to kind of continue this on. But I think it's looking pretty good. You know, definitely got some gaps to fill. And worked out the way I hoped it would. Got lots of welding to do on it. Need to weld. I'm gonna weld that solid or not. Yeah, I probably will. Weld that solid on both sides. Weld there. I did a cut and butt here. I need to do that on this edge. And make this little piece down here. But no, it's looking pretty good. I'll tell you what, my sick body is telling me that that's enough for today. So I'm gonna go in and relax for the rest of the evening, and we'll pick this back up probably tomorrow. I thought I'd throw a little blurb about the Chevy in here. So I took this for a ride the other day, and it just started running horrible. I mean, it was backfiring. It would barely idle. Check engine light was coming on, and so I was going to throw a scanner on it. I was hoping to take it to the cruise this weekend if I'm feeling better. So, but I just went ahead and did a quick under the hood look to see if anything weird was going on, and my vacuum line on my map sensor had popped off the bottom. Plugged that back on, fired it up, and good as new. So didn't think that line coming off would cause all that, but it sure didn't like it. So anyway, just thought I'd throw that in there real quick, and I'm gonna work on this door a little bit more this evening and see if we can get going with it. We got quite a bit done last night. So let's see, what are we gonna do next? I need to cut and butt that side. I need to make a little patch for here, and trying to figure out what to do with this edge here. I don't know if I want to do the 3/16 round rod on that edge or not, or if I just want to, you know, just try to weld that edge and smooth it a little bit. I haven't quite made up my mind yet, so I might do the other stuff and leave that edge, because once we do this other stuff, then I got to flip this over and need to do some welding on the other side and get some more of the paint off. So I think we'll go ahead and finish all of this up except for that edge, and then we'll take a look at that. So let me get a little patch made for that, and we'll see what we got. All right, so I'll just kind of keep coming through here and keep tacking this thing, and it's getting more and more welded in. So I'm trying to take it easy and not overheat it. Made a little piece to go down in here, and so what I'm gonna try to do this evening is get this fully welded up, and probably get it ground off, and then flip this door over, and tomorrow try to get the other side of this thing welded up and ground off, and maybe get some work in on the door jamb. We'll see, but it's coming along pretty good, and I like the way it's looking. All right, so we'll check back here in just a few. Okay, got her all welded up and ground down. Got me a couple drain holes here in the bottom. I think it's looking pretty decent. Side, I didn't really need to weld that all the way across and grind that. I mean, that's not going anywhere, so we're just gonna leave that like that. We're not gonna see that underneath. Okay, so I do need to strip all the paint off this side of the door, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and flip it over, and we'll get the other side done first, and then we'll go back and strip all the paint. Except I need to get this window to roll down. I hope this window motor is good, so I need to put it on a cart and run it out there and hook it up to the battery on my van or something, because there's one of these window visor things at the top, and I want to get it out and get the paint off of there, and can't do it unless I can get the window down. So all right, let me flip this over, and we'll take a look at the other side, see what we got to do. But it looks good. Yeah, it's good and solid. Okay, so this side we got paint to remove. I need to weld this skin all the way across there, and I've really got to be careful with this, because that will warp easy. So that's just going to have to be one slow dot at a time. It's a lot of open area right in there. I need to clean up this edge, kind of finish this edge, and then I need to run this edge into this. So we'll have to make a little piece to go into there. Most of this is just taking off paint. This is this thing, whatever it is. But I need to get the window down to clean all the old paint off of that. So not as much to do on this side as there was the other side. I just have got to be careful when I'm doing it. See how easy that moves. In fact, I might need to cut it there and kind of let it come up a little bit, because it already looks like I'm down a little there and up a little there. But yeah, coming along good. So I think I will tackle this extravaganza in the morning. And yeah, we'll get this welded up. We'll get all this paint off, get this ground down, and then we'll see about getting that window down and getting that out of there. And finish up this little edge here. Okay, so I guess that is it for this evening. All right, morning everybody. So I knocked a little paint off of this last night, and I went through here, was looking at some of my old spot welds where I kind of tacked this together, and I kind of had it uneven in spots, so I cut the ones that weren't good, and we'll push those down and get those even. I'm gonna use a little filler wire along in here to fill that, and I want to get that nice and straight. But like I was saying last night, I want to do this slow, because that would be super easy to warp with too much heat, and I don't want to do that. Decided I am going to go ahead and put a round rod edge on this. I welded this bottom edge and ground it, and it's so much of a nicer edge when you use this stuff, and it's not that much more work. So my gap was good, so I'm going to trim. This is 3/16, I'm going to trim this back 3/16, keep my edge the same, and then we'll just bend this and we'll walk it along there and weld that, like you saw me do on here, like you saw me do on that car. So probably not going to show all that, go more for the finished product. I'm not going to spend a ton of time out here today, because we have got a big 3-day car show in town, and then like one town over, they're having their homecoming celebration, and my wife is working down at that one she's in the Optimus Club, so and they're having a car show. So I'm gonna give the Chevy a bath and vacuum the inside and clean the glass, and I'm gonna go spend the day with some other hot rodders. Maybe we'll shoot a little video footage along and check some of that out and what's going on with that. I don't know if we'll do that on this video or on a different one, but yeah, gonna get out of the garage and actually enjoy the car for a little while today. Okay, so let me see where we're gonna start. I think I want to cut this weld loose too, because I'm kind of up here and I'm kind of down there. So let's cut that loose, get a few preliminary tacks in there, and I'm going to take this. I got a little piece of this stuff around somewhere. I just want to put it on there and take a pencil and kind of trace along that, so I can trim that much off of the edge before we weld this on there. So okay, we'll look at a little bit of progress in a few minutes here. All right, let me show you real quick how I'm doing this. I got a pretty decent gap here between the rod and between the sheet metal. You can see it there and there. So what I do is I take a piece of this wire. And I'm just going to cut a piece long enough to go between these welds. Just gonna kind of tuck that down in there like that. And just throw a little tack on it. Put a bunch of heat on it. Push this side down. This stuff melts really nice. Got a low melting point to it. So I'll give me a little filler in there, and as I go along, I'll push that down and tack that along there. And there's a little peak to this. So I think what I might have to do also is go along the top of this and just like put a row of weld all the way down the top of this thing, so I can kind of shape it to make it look like that. I think it's going to work okay. I had to cut a little relief cut here. You can see that. Got a little relief cut there to get that to push down even, but now I got it pretty much nice and even all the way across. So I'm gonna go along with this little piece of the wire, like these gaps in here. I'm gonna lay some wire down in there. Just get those tacked into place. You know, got some gaps there. We'll do it there. So let me get that kind of preliminary tacked in. And then we'll move over to this and see what we're going to do with this. Okay, so I am just going along here and just doing random tacks. I got a bad habit of welding too much in one spot and warping stuff, so I'm just really trying to take it slow. So do a row of tacks, sand a little bit, do a row of tacks, sand a little bit. Started working on this round rod. So this 3/16 stuff is thin enough you can pretty much form it by hand. So I went along here. So can you see that in the frame? Yeah. Went along here with a pencil and marked a line. I'm going to cut that, but I'm just kind of using that for my guide right now. So I'm good down to here. So we're going to cut that back, tack that into there, and then we got like a little step here and down, so I'm going to stop that there and then make this piece another piece. So let me get the cutting wheel out. We'll cut that off, and we'll cut this off, and we'll size this guy up. And let's go ahead and mark this while we're here. Yeah, form pretty good. Right there. Can I see that? Pencil on steel doesn't mark that great. You can see that? I don't lose where it's at. It's right there. And then as I'm welding here, I'm putting a little build on the top of this too, so I'm hoping I can form that to this ridge here. It's definitely going to take some grinding, that's for sure. All right, let me cut this off and we'll take a look. Okay, so we got a door edge on here, and I started to think, should I put the door back on there and see how this is, if my gap changed first. But I decided to go ahead and go with this, and if I need to fix the gap, I'll fix it on there, because that's still pretty roughed in, and a little change on that would not be a big deal. So, but yeah, I got it tacked real good across here, just like I said, a little bit at a time. Not getting anything hot. Nothing's warped. Sturdy. So this is just going to take probably a day. I mean, tomorrow. But if I go slow tomorrow, I can probably get all this welded up and all this ground down and looking decent and get the paint off of it. So not really much to show there. We'll take a look at it the next video and how it came out. And once we get this done, we're gonna come over to here, and I've just got a lot of welding to finish. I need to finish this door jamb. Like pieces back here, you know, I got like a jagged hole here, so we're gonna try to get a lot of this cleaned up and done in here. Get that hole closed up, paint strip off, yada yada, bunch of stuff. We'll get all this done. We'll get the door back on it and paint off that windshield jamb. And we're probably gonna have to weld, yeah, I gotta weld that seam too. So there's quite a bit of work just in this one area on that one door. But we got a door built, and I think it looks good and it's solid. It's gonna work. I can get my foot in there and get up into things. So win, I'm saying. All right, so that's I'll tell you what, that is all I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna clean up the car, go out and have some fun today. Maybe we'll do another video on that, on some of the stuff we see. Let's get a word from the Lord, and we'll call it for today. So this is a short day in the shop. Saturday, we're just gonna go out and have some fun, not work all day. So, okay, back in just a minute. Hey everybody, thanks for coming along today, and I think we did pretty good. You know, we got that door figured out, and I think it's gonna work good. And just a lot of, you know, just like the rest of it, lots of welding and grinding ahead, and I'll just try to do a little bit at a time and not look at the whole picture. If you look at the whole picture, it's like, wow, there's a lot to do. So just trying to take little bites of the elephant. That's the way to do it. So anyway, for today's message, this was one of my morning devotions the other day, and I thought it was really good, and shared it with a couple of people. And it talks about our dual nature, our spiritual nature versus our fleshly nature, which, as we know, are kind of constantly in opposition to each other. And so one of the verses is Romans 8:6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. And talks a little bit about the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I don't know if, you know, there's been a lot of movies made on that. Pretty good book out on it. Who wrote that thing? Robert Louis Stevenson. About Edward Hyde, pretty decent guy, scientist. Did some experimentations on himself, don't know why, and transformed himself into Edward Hyde, the murderous fiend. And great story, great dichotomy of human behavior. You know, how we kind of both have that good and evil nature. And sometimes good people do incredibly evil things. When you look in the Bible, look at Reuben, Joseph's brother. You know, at his best, Reuben was the one that when they were going to kill their brother, kill Joseph, he said, no, you know, we need to, decided to cast Joseph in the pit. And I think the intention was that he was going to come back and save him later. But so he was pretty upstanding at that moment. But then not too much longer in Scripture, we see that Reuben went and laid with Delilah, his father's concubine. So that was one of his lower moments. You know, slept with his own stepmother. So, and we're like that. We can have really good moments where we're close to God, and moments where we just kind of blow it. There's several other scriptures that talk about, you know, the believer has a spiritual nature. 1 Corinthians 5:17 talks about being a partaker of the divine nature. 2 Peter 1:4 talks about the believer is indwelt by the Spirit of God and has the mind of Christ. 1 Corinthians 2:16, you're called holy. Colossians 1:22, when you walk with God, your spiritual nature shows. But our old nature, our sin nature, or our carnal nature, even though when we're saved and we accept Christ, it's still there and still pretty powerful. You know, Paul says in Romans 7:21, I find that a law that when I would do good, evil is present within me. So at any given moment, we can be carnal minded or spiritual minded. So, you know, Peter himself, this is a great passage. It's Matthew 6:15, when 16:15 through 17, Jesus asks his disciples, who do you say that I am? And Peter says, thou art Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus answered him, blessed art thou, Simon Barjona, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And so at that moment, Peter was really spiritual minded. But just a few verses later, he gets full of pride and tries to talk Jesus out of going on the cross, and Jesus rebukes him, says, get behind me, Satan, thou art an offense to me, for thou savorest not the things of God, but the things of man. So, you know, if you're like me, there's days when you feel like you're really close to God, and there's days when you just feel like you have no interest in praying, no desire to get out of bed and read God's word. I mean, you know, there's mornings I get up, I can't wait to read the word, and there's some mornings I get up, I'm like, I could probably just skip it for today, you know, but I try not to do that. So how do we deal with those moments? First off, for myself, I like to ask God, is there some unconfessed sin in my life that is weighing me down, and try to address that. It says here, a Christian friend who found he had suddenly become carnally minded professed his predicament to his wife. She said, have you gone to the Lord to ask him to show you any unconfessed sins? And he said, yes, I did, but God didn't show me anything. And his wife said, well, you better go back and pray some more because you've got plenty. I thought that was pretty funny. So when we sense we're having that carnal moment, I need to spend more time in God's word and around Christian people, and kind of shut out the things of the world. You know, when we sense we're becoming carnally minded, try to consider an emergency, deal with the situation right away. So that's the message for today. I thought it was especially meaningful to myself this week. I hope you got something out of that. And let's have a quick word of prayer. Heavenly Father, please make me and keep me a spiritual-minded man. Show me any sins I need to confess to you. Protect me from Satan's attacks. Help me, Lord, to fill my mind with spiritual things today. And just pray for all this. I pray the same for everybody watching this who's dealing with those same kind of struggles, that we would turn away from the world, turn away from the things of the world and turn to you. We ask this in the name of your precious Son, Jesus. Amen. All right, hit like, hit subscribe. I'm going to go hit some car shows today. Might do a few short videos and put them out, but I figure I'd do it on a different one instead of on this one. So I will catch you on the next one.